Move with me, everybody! We're in Miami! You got me. I'll levitate. Before you sit down, I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to share one tool that you are going to use this year that's going to increase your happiness and increase your resilience. Turn to the person next to you and share one tool. Okay, awesome, everybody. I will have you sit down. Thank you. All the love, all the new friends in the room. Imagine that you are growing up in a little log cabin in the middle of a gigantic forest in northern Canada. The closest town is a 45-minute drive through the Rocky Mountains. The average temperature throughout the winter is minus 35 degrees Celsius for months. And in this little log cabin, you don't have a phone and you don't have a television. I'm describing the first decade of my life. My parents ran a little local ski area. I'm the eldest of 3 sisters. And although this environment might sound horrible to you, I actually had when I think back to that first decade, a pretty happy life when I think back to that time. We skied all the time and played in the snow. That was kind of life. That was what I did. And one day I felt changes shifting between my parents, and not for the better. And different events started happening. And then on one particular day, my mom and dad called a family meeting. We had never had a family meeting before. And they sat us down and they told us that my parents were separating and that they were going to be getting divorced. They told my sisters and I that we were going to be moving to a different place in southern British Columbia. And they told us that my mom was going to be moving out. Of course, I felt like my whole world was falling apart. I was 10 years old. And yet all of these changes, this wasn't the worst part. You see, my father, Peter, had always been this bright light. I'll give you one of his sayings that will give you a glimpse into his personality. He has a saying that goes, I don't care if the glass is half empty. I don't care if the glass is half full. I'm just thankful I have a glass. And we would spend time with friends and family, and he was just this joyous, happy guy. And then from that point, from that family meeting on and moving, and my mom moving out, and lots of challenges, his light started dwindling. And he was becoming less and less and less happy. How he moved through life, how he talked to us. It felt like he was sort of disappearing. And I remember thinking, is this my new dad? Is this how he's going to be forever? And then one day I woke up, we were staying at my dad's house, and I woke up before my sisters, and I came downstairs, and I heard reggae music playing in the kitchen, which was very unusual. And I could smell fresh orange juice and bacon. And there's my dad standing there, dancing to the reggae music, making pancakes. And I come down. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Tia. Wow, Dad, you seem really happy. Are you happy because it's your birthday? You know, Tia, I have had 3 of the worst years of my entire life. And I woke up this morning and I thought to myself, I'm not going to have another bad year. And from that day, I saw my father, Peter, choose happiness. I saw him choose resilience. And I saw him make choices to increase his happiness with his company, with my sisters and I, with his friends. And I cannot think of a better lesson to learn as a young adolescent than it is a choice. This choice is vital for leaders. This is my father, Peter. He wanted me to tell all of you that he's happy today. He said, make sure you tell them all. Leaders, I'm going to make sure I know how to do this one. Is that the off? I don't know. Okay, we'll keep them on there. I don't know how to turn it off. Leaders have an enormous impact, as you know. You're a leader in your family. You're a leader in your community. You're a leader with your friend group. You're a leader at work. A leader is not necessarily a title, as we know. And at times we underestimate the impact that we have. What if every single leader on earth was taught how to be happy? What would this world look like? So, as I told you, I grew up in Northern Canada. I became a leader of other human beings at a very young age. At 26 years old, I got promoted to be a director of sales and marketing at the Sheraton Kauai Resort. And just like you, from that challenging time at 10 years old, throughout my life, I've had peaks and valleys, good years, good times, bad times. And I went on to lead sales and marketing teams in the Hawaiian Islands. I was in New York City. I worked in Istanbul, Turkey, and then in beautiful Los Angeles. Remember, I'm from that little log cabin with with palm trees, right? And I'm one of those people that got a lot of happy genes. Remember talking about, some people are born? I definitely got a lot of happy genes. So throughout my life, and I was working in hotels and feeling so grateful to live and work around the world, people would always ask me, how do you stay so happy? Where do you get all this positivity from? Even when there's huge challenges happening, you're thinking about, okay, how can we get past this together? And I don't know if it's because I grew up in this little log cabin or, maybe it's genetic, but I've always been very, very aware of the awe of life and the gift of life. And so went on, I'm working in hotels, having definitely maybe experienced some burnout and, working and et cetera. I got to this point where I was working at a hotel in Los Angeles, and I had just gone back to work after having my second daughter. I have 2 little girls, Mackenzie and Audrey. At the time, Mackenzie was 2, Audrey was 4 months. And I am back at work, attempting to juggle executive career, 2 little kids, marriage, my health and wellness, friendship, family. I was not happy. And at this point is when I started researching happiness, and I discovered the science of happiness, and I found Wahasu and went on this journey, and I'm going to be on it for the rest of my life. Studied with Tal at HSA, learned about neuroscience, became a CHO. And I have created this 8-step methodology to be a happy leader. You see, in my years in the hotel industry, I had inspirational, motivational, incredible leaders. And I had the opposite. I had leaders that would make teams feel horrible, that would communicate to people in a way that I would call verbal abuse. And I remember thinking, how is this person a leader within such a large global company, and they are negatively affecting people so much? And so the happiness research and the neuroscience and becoming a CHO, and with my own personal experiences, I created this 8-step methodology. And these steps are, number 1, we've been hearing it since we got here. It starts with you. You cannot try and elevate other human beings at work if you are not well. The second is zoom out and have a wide perspective, and do not only see reality in your work as this. Third is execute brilliantly. Happy leaders do not work all the time. Happy leaders spend time with their families and time with their friends, and they travel and they sleep. And so you need to execute brilliantly, so you stop working and go do other things. Number 4 is you prioritize relationships over to-do lists. The next is your number 1 priority, which is your team. 6 is measure to excel. You measure what matters, and you help your team measure what matters so that you and your team achieve and beat their goals. Number 7 is be the spark, and 8, master your mindset. Leaders and all of us create a ripple effect. There's emotional contagion, whether we like it or not. And in the article titled Relational Energy at Work in the Journal of Applied Psychology, the research showed that the energy people get from their leaders can positively or negatively affect their job performance, their productivity, their vitality. And this is a resource. Energy at work is an organizational resource that is critical, and it has the ability to allow people to bring their whole selves to work. So I don't have time to go through all 8 steps, but I think you all got the gift of the book, so you'll be able to go through them. And I'm going to talk to you. Yeah, of course. Thank you. No. I'm going to talk to you about number 7, which is be the spark. Now, the work that I do is I do talks and leadership development. Predominantly, I work with leaders because of the influence that leaders have and that ripple effect. But what I'm going to talk about right now affects, you can think about it with your family. You can think about it with your friends. I try and always be the spark with my kids, but sometimes they drive me nuts, and I'm not, we're all human, right? We're all human. We can't be positive and happy every single day. So let's talk about being the spark. Every single day when you wake up, you have the ability to spread light. The world needs more light, okay? So how? How can you do this? I'm going to share with you how I have done this over the past several decades for work and my friends and my family. So, number 1, you protect your energy the way you would protect your family. So think about if someone was going to come and attack your family, you would not let it happen. Your energy is that important. This is how I have lived. So how do you do that? You sleep at least 7 to 9 hours a night. You cannot do the work that you want to do if you are sleep deprived. You must eat healthy foods. You must move. You might think, oh, I'll keep doing email, I'll move. No. You need to move to be your best self. We heard about, of course, about the power of meditation, spending time in nature, nourishing your psychological health. Obviously, we're doing it here, but never, ever, ever watching the news on television. I read the news, I never watch the news. The news makes you feel 31% more negative. Why are you going to do that to yourself? Read the news, stay informed, and be in tune. Slow down. To be in tune with your energy. Is your energy low? Do you need more? What do you need to do? Okay? If you're going to be the spark for others, you need energy. You got to be able to dance for others, right? So you need that energy. Okay? Number 2, whether this is your team at work or your family, your friendship group, you celebrate small wins. We don't celebrate enough. So in the fantastic business book called The Progress Principle, the researchers who studied with hundreds of companies and thousands of employees proved that the number one motivator for people while working is progress in meaningful work. Progress. So leaders in the room, you have 1 employee or you have 100,000. You need to be celebrating the small wins and showing everyone that they're making progress. Not once a month, not at the end of the quarter, not at the end of the year, every week. We're doing this, we made progress, right? This is to provide to your children and obviously for yourself as well. People would say, Tia, you're such a cheerleader. You're celebrating all of us. I'm like, well, someone's got to be. We're working so hard in these hotels. We got to celebrate what we're doing, right? Okay, so that's number 2, celebrate small wins. Number 3, to be the spark. You intentionally, consciously show up positive and optimistic. Not toxic, not every single day, and you're like, be positive. No, not an annoying. But this is a choice, right? It takes work, it takes effort. What I'm talking about is not easy. You have to, day in, day out, right? We're all talking about this is a lifelong journey. But whether it's for your family, for your friends, or the people you work with, you show up positive and optimistic. So how? Well, first of all, you need to take care of your physical health and your physical body, with your with your psychological, your mental health, of nourishing it with wonderful books and podcasts and not scrolling endlessly on social media. Even though it's so addictive on purpose, we have to say, okay, no, right? We have to know what is healthy for us and what is not. And when you wake up in the morning, where everyone's talking about what you first do in the morning, I'm going to take it to, what do you do when you encounter human beings in the morning? Everyone's talking about what you do on your own, okay? So when you encounter human beings, so whether it's your kid or your husband or your spouse, or, I'm talking about leadership, is your team, is, good morning. How was your weekend? What did you do? Okay? And you actually care. You're not checking a box. You're connecting with people, and you can do this virtually. I'm telling everyone, we've been in a pandemic for a couple of years. Don't send text messages, send videos to each other. I miss you. How are you? What's going on, to your colleagues, of that connection, okay? And the last is positive communication. The research shows that thriving teams and thriving organizations have a positive comment to negative comment ratio of 5.6 to 1. So think about how you are communicating in your emails, on Slack, on video. And we need to counter all the negativity that is happening in the world. Okay? So know that every single one of you here are a happy leader, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And know that work can be amazing. It can be freaking awesome. I was just talking to my friend Eli. How come everyone's like work? Like it sounds like a bad thing. Why? You know, the Danish have a word, arbeidsglad. It means work happiness. We need that word in English, right? So in closing, I will say, take everything that you have, that you're learning here, and bring it to as many people as possible. And let's just spread out a massive ripple effect around the globe.